East Timor is a small island nation. It is located in Southeast Asia, close to Indonesia. For centuries, East Timor was ruled by Portugal. The Portuguese arrived in the 16th century, drawn to the island's sandalwood and spices. Life under Portuguese rule was difficult for many East Timorese. They had limited access to education and economic opportunities. However, Timorese culture remained strong. The people clung to their traditions and language. This cultural identity would later fuel the fight for independence. The desire for freedom grew stronger in the 20th century. Many countries around the world were gaining independence from colonial powers. East Timor also yearned for self-determination. In 1974, a revolution in Portugal led to a change in government. The new leaders decided to give up their colonies. This decision had a major impact on East Timor. Political parties emerged, each with its own vision for the future. Among these parties was Frelimo, a group that favored complete independence. Frelimo gained popular support and declared East Timor independent on November 28, 1975. This declaration was met with mixed reactions internationally. The young nation's joy was short-lived. Just 9 days later, Indonesian forces invaded East Timor. Indonesia claimed that it was acting to prevent a communist government from taking hold. However, many countries saw this as an act of aggression and an illegal occupation. This marked the beginning of a long and dark period for the East Timorese people. The Indonesian occupation of East Timor was brutal and oppressive. The Indonesian military committed widespread human rights abuses. Thousands of East Timorese were killed. Many more were imprisoned, tortured, or disappeared. Basic freedoms, such as freedom of speech and assembly, were suppressed. The Indonesian government tried to erase East Timorese culture and identity. They banned the use of the local language, Tetum, and forced people to adopt Indonesian customs. Despite the hardships, the East Timorese people never gave up hope of freedom. They resisted the occupation in various ways, from armed struggle to peaceful protests. Their courage and determination kept the dream of independence alive. Section 4. Hope emerges from the UN. Throughout the occupation, the United Nations condemned Indonesia's actions. The UN refused to recognize Indonesia's claim over East Timor. The UN continued to view Portugal as the legal administering power. During the 1990s, international pressure on Indonesia grew. The UN played a key role in facilitating dialogue between Indonesia and East Timor's pro-independence leadership. This led to a breakthrough agreement in 1999. Under the agreement, Indonesia allowed the UN to hold a referendum in East Timor. The people would finally have the chance to decide their own future. This was a major victory for the East Timorese people and a testament to the power of international diplomacy. Section 5. A vote for freedom. The UN-sponsored referendum took place on August 30, 1999. It was a historic moment for East Timor. People from all walks of life turned out to vote. The world watched with bated breath as the results were announced. An overwhelming majority, 78.5% of East Timorese voted for independence. This result sent a clear message to the world. The people of East Timor had spoken. They chose freedom over oppression. The referendum was a triumph for democracy and self-determination. It showed the power of peaceful means to achieve political change. However, the struggle was far from over. The road to independence would prove to be a bumpy one.